I've seen numbers thrown around like 5%, 10% additional revenue just by implementing this simple system in your business. Hey everyone, welcome to Ontraport Use Cases. My name is Sam, and today we're going to talk about how to reclaim lost sales with cart abandonment follow-up systems. So what that is an automated process to follow up, typically via email, with leads who abandon your order page or shopping cart mid-purchase to increase the likelihood of closing that sale. So why you'd want to do something like this is actually very simple, but the first one is to recover lost leads, and the second one is to maximize your ROI efficiently. If you're not familiar with ROI, it stands for your return on investment, right? Return on your marketing dollars. But I want to spend a little bit of time on this because the truth is, this is a super effortless thing to implement. We're talking about writing some emails. We're going to talk about this in a sec, but writing some emails, building a little funnel, take you a couple hours, and I've seen numbers thrown around like 5%, 10% additional revenue just by implementing this simple system in your business. And because it's so easy, there's really no reason not to do this. There's no such thing as a hotter lead than someone who comes to your website, picks a product, adds it to their cart, and doesn't purchase it, right? They've gone through all those steps and not made their buying decision. And there's a few reasons why they might not. The first one is life gets in the way, right? We all have distractions. We all get a million emails a day. Their kid comes in, they get distracted, and they forget to make their purchase. That's a real easy sale that you can recover, right, with something like this. Another reason is they might have some objections, right? Every product and service has objections. If it's a pizza, the objection might be, you know what, that's like really unhealthy and I don't want to eat that right now. If it's Ontraport, we have our own set of objections. You can tackle those head on and try to help people get over that fear. And finally, they might just have a second thought about, yeah, it's just not the right time, right? Like maybe I'll buy that in the future, but right now is not the right time. And these are all things that you can ask about and try to address and hopefully capture on some of those leads. Okay, so what does this look like in Ontraport? So we've got a couple examples here, and the top one is probably the most common one that I see our clients do as well as other people out on the internet. And it's where you take a lead and they abandon your order form. Like I said, they make it through your website, they find the product they want, they add it to their cart, and they don't follow through with the transaction. Most people at this point will have an email system designed to re-entice them to come back and make a purchase. You would identify these people by tracking. So you'd say, hey, they visited this page, but they didn't buy my product, that kind of a thing. And then you'd tag them or do whatever you need to do. But either way, you identify them, you drop them onto an email funnel. The first email is what we call the diffuse objections email. So like I said earlier, most products and services have some sort of a set of objections that come along with them. And you should know what these are, because you're obviously the proprietor of your business and you know what people say when they purchase your product or don't purchase your product. So like here at Ontraport, we get a lot of things like, is there this particular feature that I'm looking for before I make a buying decision? I need to know that you guys can do this one thing. What are your support hours like? Things like that, right? So in this email, you want to just attack those things head on. This is a great place for FAQs. This is a great place for copy that reads something along the lines of, hey, if you're worried about support or if you have any second guesses there, don't worry. We've got a support team. They're here until midnight every day, and we've got a phone number you can call and all that kind of stuff, right? So that's our diffuse objections email. This one's pretty passive, not super aggressive. You want to be helpful, not intimidating here. Okay, the second email is a little more aggressive. This is your urgency email. So this is where you say, listen, I saw that you were interested in my product, you haven't followed through on it, and this is where you drive some urgency in terms of the time frame you're hoping they'll buy in. There's a few different ways you can do this. One way I've seen it done is people will use a coupon code and offer a discount at this point. They'll say, hey, I'll tell you what, if you buy in the next 24 hours, I'll give you 10% off, that kind of a thing. I'm not a huge fan of that personally, because if that gets out, people aren't going to buy anymore. They're just going to wait for that, which can affect your conversion rates. But I do see a lot of big companies do it. So clearly, maybe I'm wrong about that. But that is one thing that people do here. Another thing that we talk about is just changing the way you talk about your product, right? So if it's Ontraport, we might say something like, listen, how much longer can you really afford to not have your business online and all under one roof? How much longer can you afford not growing day over day? You need Ontraport and you need it now, that kind of a thing. Okay. Then the next email is what we call the follow-up offer email. So this one, we're kind of switching gears, right? We've given them a couple chances to come back and make their purchase. They haven't taken us up on it. So with this third email, we're gonna give them a follow-up offer. Now that could be, like I said with the second one, that could be some sort of a discount on the current offer, or you could just completely change gears and offer them something different, some sort of a cross-sell, right? You might say, okay, Ontraport's not for you, right? That's okay, no problem. What about Ontrapages? We have a little brother product of Ontraport that allows you to create landing pages online. You can get started for free, that kind of a thing. and we're hoping that we can catch some conversions here and keep them in our, in our client life cycle. So the other thing I want to mention quickly before we move on from this example is the timing of these emails. So I've seen very aggressive versions of this where as soon as I leave the page, I get an email about it. I'm not a huge fan of that because, like I said earlier, life happens, right? We get distracted. There have been times where I've added stuff to my cart with the intention of buying, and I just get distracted by a phone call or something like that, and I come back and I have an email. It's like, hey, why haven't you bought yet? And it kind of turns me off. So I'm not a huge fan of that. We like to wait until the next day or the next morning at least. So we recommend one email a day starting the next day. So if today's Monday, send that first email on Tuesday, then Wednesday, then Thursday. That's what we like. But it does depend on your audience, and you should know how your people react to those kinds of timing things. Okay, the second example we have here is Facebook retargeting. So Facebook retargeting, now this one, I know I said earlier that this stuff doesn't cost you anything to implement, and that's true for most strategies. This one will cost you a little bit, but retargeting is actually very cheap in terms of advertising. So what we're talking about here is doing retargeting ads on Facebook to the people who have visited your page. So again, we have a contact who visits our order page and does not purchase. Then we'll have a rule in Ontraport that adds them to a custom audience on our Facebook ads that says, hey, these people visited the page and didn't purchase, send them this ad campaign. And that ad campaign should say something like, don't forget to order, or maybe not even so poignant. You might just remind them that your product exists and sort of keep it in their newsfeed. You may have noticed this out on the web where my favorite example of this, because it happens all the time, is you go to a website and you look at a pair of shoes, and for some reason that pair of shoes in that color follow you all over the internet. That's what we call retargeting, right? They're doing something very similar to what I'm talking about here. So they visited the page, you add them to a custom audience, and then you follow them around with ads saying, hey, come back and buy the thing. And then hopefully they come back and buy, right? That's sort of the goal here. Now, if you're curious about custom audiences and you don't know a lot about Facebook ads, that's totally okay. We have a use case on this custom audience integration specifically, so go check that out. But that about does it. So, like I said earlier, this is a big one because this one doesn't cost you a lot of time or money to start trying to capitalize on those lost sales. And like I said, even if it's 5% additional revenue for your business, why not, right? We're talking about a couple hours here to write this stuff and put it into a system, and then you're done. So if you have any more questions about this or want to see some more examples of how to use this cool stuff, check out down below. We've got a bunch of examples and information, and we've got lots of use cases on stuff just like this, including the Facebook custom audiences one. So if you want to know more about that, check that out, and we'll see you next time.